I know what happened. I know y'all got it wrong. Make it right, or we're gonna have a problem. Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Jacob. Welcome back to Sunday Yap Session, the show where every Sunday I hop on here and yap at you all about something with some sort of cohesive through line to carry us all through, and sometimes we do better than others. If you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to give it a like because it helps me out quite a bit. And if you want to come yap with me every single Sunday, be sure to hit that subscribe button because I upload at least once a week and sometimes more. Today we are sipping on a Pops, what is it, strawberry lemon prebiotic soda. One thing I love about shopping at Aldi, they are like not afraid to like rip another brand directly and like so unabashedly too. Like I've just started drinking these. I also get like the thin wheats, which are the wheat thin dupes. Like I would love to hear like how they are able to do that and what kind of precedent they're able to like directly rip these brands. Poppy, they're coming for you, girl. And with the controversy you've been dealing with lately, I don't think you have the community support to deal with it. Oh, it tastes a little weird. Okay, Poppy, you might be okay. You might be okay. But how are y'all? How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Today, what I wanted to talk about is a couple of videos ago, I mentioned that like I was dealing with like some nonsense, some drama, and it felt like that everybody waited till like Black History Month to start like pissing me off. We've like dealt with all of that now, and like most of it is pretty much resolved at this point. There's still like one little situation that's like 99% done that I'm still waiting for like the last little bit of it. But I wanted to kind of just talk about like some of the reframing and the thinking that I've kind of been going through. It's like helped me deal with some of this stuff because we've talked about it before. I made a whole video about how I'm like a people pleaser and trying to like go through the process of unlearning that. And I think like the thing that I've been working on the most and has been like so helpful in my life is like being more assertive. And like I personally like call it like being a bitch, even though like I know that like that's not what it actually is. But I think like caricaturizing it has been like very helpful for me. I'm not gonna sit here and like go exactly through all of these situations, but like just for context, there have been people that are doing things they know they shouldn't. People, institutions, companies, businesses that have been trying their patience and they know what they're doing is wrong, and that's kind of like been the most annoying part. But then like being like little like people pleaser self that like doesn't want to be a problem and doesn't want to cause any drama. With these situations and some situations in the past, I'm usually like trying to be so nice about it, so like calm and chill and like being understanding and giving people grace, so on and so forth. And I really think like framing it as like, okay, I need to like, I'll be nice for a little bit and then I will flip and start being a bitch has been so helpful. Allowing myself to handle these things in the way I want to, but also like making sure we get to a resolution. And I feel like that's been very helpful because I think the threshold for like what being bitchy is very, very different. For people that are kind of in like my circumstance that are always like, the let me like minimize myself and like not make myself a problem. I think like what I'm framing as like being a bitch is like most people's like normal response to like being faced with injustice or having something done wrong. So like for my fellow people pleasers, it's time to lean into bitch mode. It's time to start being bitchy. And I think the first part that's like been super helpful with that is trying to like wean myself off of like needing a cosign to like agree with me that something happening is like wild and unreasonable. Because even with the stuff that I was dealing with like recently where people, like I said, were just doing things like they should not be doing in the first place, there was like such an initial disconnect for me, even just like agreeing and trusting my own assessment of the situation that like something was wrong and something was like not right happening. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's like malicious or that like the people that were doing these things were doing it like out of negative impact. And that's where I kind of get caught up because I'm always like, let me assume the best. Let me assume that like people don't know what they're doing, they don't know better, blah 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 blah, this is just like a coincidence. And that's where I start slipping into like being overly nice and like overly accommodating and like compromising what I want for the needs of like a situation going smoothly. But like I've been trying to get back out of that framing of like thinking that somebody needs to co-sign how I feel about stuff, and this has been very, very difficult. And I've kind of realized, I think on some level, do not like trust my inherent like assessment of things. That's a whole other can of worms that we're gonna be working on. Trusting that I know what I want, and then what I want is important. Is like the combo. And it's been very challenging to deal with all of that. I think especially too with like these situations where they were kind of like bigger situations that weren't like quick resolutions. I'm also someone who like, I just want things to be over. Like when things like this are happening, largely I just like don't want to deal with them. And the fact that like something annoying or something like wrong is even happening for me is often like more annoying than the actual situation. Like it's not like the actual injustice that bothers me a lot of time. It's like the fact that the injustice is even existing. And hopefully that kind of distinction makes sense. And that like, that's where I get stuck sometimes. Like I will like get so annoyed and frustrated that like something's happening and I just want it to be like over and done. And I'll just like capitulate to whatever like the other party wants. And it was was like very, very tough for me in these situations to like stand my ground and like lean into that like bitchy self. It's like, no, I know what I want. I know what happened. I know y'all got it wrong. Make it right, or we're gonna have a problem. It's been very interesting trying to like be more aware and kind of assess how I respond to these situations as they're happening. Cause I feel like a lot of times, like I've talked about just like feeling like I'm on autopilot sometimes and just like going through things and doing things and like not really thinking too much about them because it's just stuff I've always done and stuff like that. But like being more like active and present in this, I will like clock myself and be like, oh no, this is actually wild that this is happening and you know that. And like, why are you just like letting it kind of happen? Or why are you not like being more assertive or like more bitchy about this situation? Sometimes I refer to it as like being a Karen too. Like I feel like it's like being passive, then you got like the bitchy phase, and then like if it's truly getting rancid, like I need to pull out my inner Karen. Someone needs to make a service. I wonder if this is a thing. Someone needs to make a service for people like me that are dealing with situations and are in the process of trying to get better, where you can like phone a Karen and be like, girl, I need you to like go wild on a situation, and just like phone the Karen over to like whoever or whatever you're dealing with and just have them deal with that. Somebody make that. That's a good business idea if that doesn't already exist. And I feel like that's a way that Karens could move forward rather than like accosting and harassing service workers. Tangent, however. And I will say, y'all, it does feel fierce. It does feel very fierce, especially in the world we're living in now, where like so many things are happening and it feels like a lot of us don't really necessarily have a lot of individual agency when it comes to all these like big picture horrible things that are going on in the world. If I can at least like clock and gag a person that is trying me and doing things they know they shouldn't be doing, like it does feel good. It does make me feel like I have like more control than I like tend to do in a lot of situations. And I feel like I've talked so much about like agency a lot of times in this like channel and just some of the various situations we've been talking about. I feel like reclaiming my agency has been like a journey that I'm on, and like regaining like active control and like trust to myself and all of that has just been like the journey that I've been going on as of late, which has been very, very nice, very, very fulfilling to like deal with all that. But it's hard, y'all. It's hard. Like I do not like having to be assertive. I wish that people would just like engage with me like normal people and not like try to play with me and try to do things that they like shouldn't be doing. But unfortunately, that is not the world we live in. And that's not like me to suggest either that like I'm perfect and I'm not like the villain sometimes. Like I'm very aware of like I've been the villain before. I've done things that I know I shouldn't be doing. So like part of it's just like human nature, but then also like some of it really does feel like people just like walking around just like oblivious to the fact that they're doing things that are so unreasonable. Like this one situation I was dealing with, I might bring it to y'all once it's like fully done because I've documented all of it because it truly was just like such a goofy situation. Y'all, like the way this individual really just like played in my face and was like engaging with me in like a way that I feel like there is no way, even with like being the most generous kind of perspective, this person knew that the way they were engaging with me was like deranged and wild and not the way that you handle the situation, and were trying to protect their bag in the bag of the company that they were representing. Like, trust. Once this is officially done and I am free from the potential recourse of talking about this too soon, maybe I'll bring it to y'all. Be in the comments and remind me. Y'all know I will bring things up and they'd be like, I'll tell you all the tea, like I did with that TV show that was trying to recruit me or whatever. It took me like 3 months to talk about it because I just completely forgot about it. Y'all gotta keep me accountable in the comments. I'll bring you the tea. Honestly, the damn recording it, if it isn't done by today or tomorrow, the whole situation will reignite and I will have to probably lean more into Karen territory. Y'all just wait. But these things like feel so scary a lot of times. Like it really does feel like, I don't even know why. I guess it's just like not being used to being assertive, but I think also there's a part of me that like gets nervous and like worried that I am like perceiving a situation wrong. Kind of like I was talking before, just like trusting myself, but like, I don't know, especially with like how hot the internet streets are a lot of days, and maybe we'll talk about that later soon too. I feel like I have seen so many people just be like so confidently loud and wrong and like standing 10 toes down on something where they are just like completely unaccurately assessing the situation. So like sometimes I am worried about that too. Like sometimes I'm like, am I being reasonable? Like, am I like making this bigger than it really needs to be? Am I like in the wrong? Like I said, not to say that never happened, but I feel like most of the time I got a good head on my shoulders. I have a clear understanding of like what is happening. So I think largely it is just like self-doubt rather than like any actual misread of things. It gets confusing too when people like don't communicate in ways that are like clear and straightforward too. That's been something I've been trying to work on too, like especially as I've had like more interaction interactions and conversations with like people that are like neurodiverse, like autistic and things like that, like I really have just kind of like looked around at the world we're in and stuff and realized like how indirect and like talking around things people will be sometimes, and it's so frustrating. And I can't imagine how frustrating it is for somebody who like truly has difficulty like sussing those things out and understanding like the social cues. I've got like stuff going on in my brain, but it like the social cues, things like that, usually that's like pretty easy for me, and I can usually tell like what people are trying to say, even if they are like talking around this. But like now, as someone who's like really kind of clocked it and kind of sees it a lot of times, it really does get so annoying. And I could challenge y'all too, like as you're going around your life, if you're someone who like is curious about this stuff, just kind of like actively pay attention to people and like the way they talk about things. And I think you'll be very surprised, and it might just be like an American thing. I don't really know like much about like how these kind of social cues and things work in like other countries and stuff, but I feel like so much like of American communication and conversation ends up being like so like interestingly indirect, and like as someone who can read it, we'll be clearly trying to communicate one thing, but we'll say like everything except for like what they're actually trying to say sometimes. And I be doing it too sometimes, like as someone who's trying to like unpack these things. It's just like truly so interesting and so odd, and especially when it's in the context of people like doing things they know they shouldn't, it feels like a little sneaky. It feels a little sneaky, a little suspicious, talking in circles around things, not actually like getting to the root of what you're trying to say. I'm like, diva, like I don't know, y'all. It's odd. It's very odd. I don't know, y'all. That's pretty much all I wanted to say. I'm just kind of like reporting in on the things that are going on with me. I feel like I alluded to this, so I want to just sit on here and talk about it directly and just like get it out there. I love talking to y'all. Love being able to just kind of like throw ideas out there and hear what y'all think about this. I'm curious if some of y'all are in the kind of situation I am, where you're someone who deals with like, or struggles rather, with this like desire to like advocate for yourself, be assertive, like stand up for yourself, trust that like the way you're perceiving a situation is accurate, and like standing on that. How do you feel about that? How do you deal with this? Like, I think it's very interesting, and I would love to hear like other people's perceptions and feeling about this. So let me know. Also, how we feel about last video. I feel like last video kind of ate that up. I really liked that video. For all the new people that came from that video, that kind of content is going to be the direction this channel is going. Unfortunately, I don't always have it in me to make a video like that well produced and like substantially done every single week yet. Life changes coming soon, and we'll talk about that later once that's actually happening. But let me know if y'all liked that and enjoyed that, and if you did, there is more coming. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got today. Hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a like. That helps me out quite a bit. And if you want to come hang out with me every single week, be sure to hit that subscribe button, because I upload at least once a week, sometimes more. Hope y'all are well. Stay bitchy, stay affirmative, stay standing on your own business. And I will catch you all in the next episode. Bye.